For the last few weeks, we've been having conversations about recovering from substance use disorders. And our idea and our goal is that one day we'll have conversations about mental health and mental illnesses being held openly, without fear of being judged, and without, being stigmatized. And it's been amazing, the kind of stories that we've had. And I would request you to kindly consider even, these links up here so that you can, listen to the previous sessions that we've had. So today we have another amazing show lined up for you. Want to unravel, demystify, or even check how music can be used, in the recovery process, what we would call art and music therapy. And I'm not alone. I'm joined by my friend, Fred of Convo, and it's good to have you, Pascal.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. How are you?
I'm very fine.
You're good?
Yeah.
Wow, right. So, karibu sana.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure. It's amazing having you with us today.
Yeah.
And just to help us even understand this, substance use, how we can try to reduce the stigma, how we can try to find, help for the people who are struggling with substance use. So we are pleased to have you join us.
Thank you.
I don't know, surprisingly, over 500,000 deaths globally are attributable to substance use. And currently, over that 5 million people globally are struggling with substance use. Yes. And those statistics are alarming. And that's why for us here at Convo, we thought that it's important that we advance this conversation about substance use and how people who are struggling with substance use can find hope and can recover, to become more productive members of our society.
Yes.
And so when we're having this conversation, when we have you here, you are actually helping us advance this conversation. So before I tell you so much stories, maybe you would love to maybe say hi to our viewer.
Yeah.
Maybe tell my viewer, who is Pascal? What are you up to?
Yeah.
Yes.
Hi, the Convo community. My name is Pascal Malaki. I am a music teacher at Aga Khan Junior School. I'm a music producer at Still Alive record label. And I'm also a session pianist. I do sessions in church, and I also run a commercial band that's called Third Score. Yeah, so that is what I do as a musician.
Amazing. So music is your thing.
Yeah, music is my thing. Yeah.
All right. Again, I want to just welcome you to Convo. It's your first time, and we are really honored to have you.
Yeah.
And like I've just said on our intro, we've been having these conversations about substance use, and it's a big problem.
Yes.
And I know in your circles you can tell someone who is struggling with the substance, maybe alcohol or maybe any other substance.
Yes.
And you know what it means to them, and even their close one, their families and all that stuff, how they get struck. But there's some people who have identified the problem and they're recovering.
Yes.
And would love to help them even, recover and avoid relapse, going back to the substances and be able to be more productive members of our society.
Yeah.
So maybe I know you will bring how music can, help such kind of people who are recovering, but maybe even I would love also to hear from you. What is your take when it comes to substance use? Is it a problem to you? Have you encountered people who are struggling it? Is this problem that you've encountered?
Well, substance use has come close to me, even in the recent past.
Wow.
I think 2 weekends ago, we buried one of our colleagues. He was a violinist with one of the major bands in this country. And he suffered stroke due to overuse, or whichever term they use to call that.
Yes.
And so it's a problem that I have experienced firsthand from seeing it affect my friends and and colleagues in the music industry.
Yeah.
And what I have noticed with substance abuse is that the cause can be varies. Yeah, it can be you can decide to abuse drugs as a way to seek pleasure. There are people who end up abusing drugs because of traumatic experiences. So when we buried our friend last week, 2 weekends ago, when the stories start coming out and you start realizing that his decisions that led him to abuse drugs were because of a traumatic experience that he had been going through. And so that is what I've experienced with my friends when it comes to substance and substance abuse. Yeah, and among my colleagues, sometimes it's adopted as a culture. People abuse drugs because a certain sect of musicians who produce a certain genre are associated with using a certain type of drug. So it starts as a guilty pleasure. You enjoy it, you embrace it as a culture, and then later the consequences start. You start realizing the consequences, and so now it becomes a problem.
You've entered so deep that you're not able even to come back.
Exactly. So that has been my experience.
Wow. You just said something important. We were having a conversation with our friends, and it's actually the video is actually on YouTube. Who have successfully recovered. And he said something very critical that I had not even looked at it that way, about some of the causes that lead people to use substances. And one of the things, for me, if you had me the major, I would say it's peer pressure. So then he told me something that it's very critical, that there are usually more underlying issues than just what we can see.
True.
Maybe the person could be going through some depression from some sort. Could having a childhood trauma. There could be poor parenting. There could be, it's a huge alley of reasons that someone would start using drugs.
And I think one of the other things that is contributing to a lot of substance abuse is the modern world is romanticizing the whole idea of using drugs. So to an extent where there are industries that are producing materials that are more conducive for children to be able to smoke, vapor, so that romanticizing of the whole thing is also making drug abuse it's becoming more prevalent.
And I was trying to review the statistics in Kenya. And I got something surprising. And it's the fact that the statistics says that in Kenya, the children between 16 to 23 years, actually was saying out of the total group of people who are abusing or using substances, 18 to 23, 50% are aged between 18 to 23. That is a very critical age group. And I was like, why would young people now at that particular age find themselves abusing, using substances?
There are so many answers to that, and one of them is that the influential people in our society, the social media, they are creating an avatar that the young people want to adopt. Because life in the social media looks polished, it looks perfect, right? And so the youngsters, they look to social media to emulate these guys who create these avatars. The problem is now, part of this avatar is drug abuse. You see some musicians who are part of the influential people in the society, they smoke. They smoke in those when they're doing those podcasts, and they encourage it. It looks like a lifestyle. So I think that is one of the reasons why you find this demographic, the age between 18, you said 18 to
23.
To 23. One of the reasons is because the influence of social media. Now, children and the young adults are not influenced by their parents 100%. There are also other influential people on social media who are creating these avatars that everyone wants to adopt. So if I see my favorite musician is smoking weed, and he's at the pinnacle of the society, he's at the top, then it seems like smoking weed is
not that bad.
It's not a big deal. Well, they do not show you the other part of that lifestyle, because in social media you have to create an avatar. It has to look well polished because of modern day marketing. So that is also another problem that we have with substance abuse.
Moving very fast, Pascal.
Let's
talk about art and music. And how it can be used as a therapy for people who are recovering.
Yes.
And maybe the question is, can music be used in the recovery process?
So before I discuss how music correlates with the rehabilitation of users of substances, I need to give a bit of a background on music therapy as a practice.
Sure.
It is not common in Africa, in the African nations, and even in the more developed nations, it's still not recognized as it has not been institutionalized. So music therapy, you can look at it either clinically or as an art. It's applied both in the field of medicine and also in the field of social work and community work. Yes. So music therapy, we have two types. So we have receptive music therapy and we have non-receptive music therapy. Yes. So in rehabilitation centers, they've adopted these practice, though it is not yet recognized as an institution, but it has been adopted in some rehabilitation centers. So when we talk about non-receptive music therapy, it means if I am a music therapist and I have my patient or the person I'm trying to help rehabilitate, the kind of practices that I adopt during the sessions, they do not have to participate in that. While in receptive music therapy, they have to participate in the process. Now, receptive music therapy is usually applied more towards the clinical side in treating diseases like Alzheimer's disease, dementia, and all that, and people recovering from injuries from accidents, like when you have your spinal cord issues. So there's that. But a portion of receptive music therapy is also applied in rehabilitation of substance abusers. Yes, and non-receptive is fully applied on both sides. So if I break it down and we look at non-receptive music therapy, certain practices like we have common things that are done in music, including singing, dancing, playing instruments, composing music, and all that. So if I pick an example like singing, if you look at singing as a practice, it could be non-receptive or receptive depending on the kind of session you have with your patient. When I talk about non-receptive, under music therapy we have another branch called community therapy. So community therapy is where you bring together all those who are recovering from substance abuse, and you help them to work together to promote camaraderie, to promote teamwork. And I'm going to explain how that helps in rehabilitation. So under community therapy, if I compose a song, for example, a song that has a theme of hope, the hope for rehabilitation and being welcomed back to the society. So if I compose a song like that and I give to these people to sing together as a community in a concert or a live performance, one of the things that induces is they feel like that rejection. It could either be self-imposed, or it could actually be there that the community rejected this sect of people because they abuse substances. So when you find them together and singing as a community, first singing to the community and performing to the community, there's that reception, and they feel like they're contributing a bit to so it's a psychological relief. So community therapy is carried out a lot in major classical concerts. So you have rehab centers putting together shows to help these people to be able to interact again with the community. We recently hosted one of our rehabilitation centers at Parklands. They came with the whole team of people who had been rehabilitated, and they did performances together. And so that helps them to interact again with a community that either they made themselves believe that rejected them, or actually did reject them. So that is how an example of a non-receptive practice of music therapy can be helpful. Another way that music therapy helps is composition. So in the clinical side of music therapy, during sessions for music therapy, you would ask a patient to compose a song to express how they feel during that process. And one of the ways we we clear up our minds when you're having psychological problems is expression. So the same thing with someone in rehab. They might be having a lot of depression because substance abuse comes with losing your friends and family. You lose a lot of opportunities because you're not able to operate at optimum
level,
capacity.
yes.
And so that can bring a lot of anxiety. That can bring a lot of depression.
Yes.
And so being able to express those feelings helps to reduce and calm the person so that they're able to be stronger. So when I write poetically how I feel about my situation, I might not be able to tell you exactly that I am depressed. So music is usually an indirect way of saying exactly how you feel.
More like an avenue.
Exactly, it's more like an avenue. So instead of telling you I am depressed, because I fear you might judge me, because it's very direct, So what I'll do is through the song, I'll use my poetic words to be able to express how I feel, and that will bring me a lot of comfort psychologically. So people in rehab centers are encouraged to do such kind of practices. Another example is learning to play an instrument. Now, learning to play an instrument is it's both receptive and non-receptive.
Yes.
If you look at in the clinical side, people who have lost their cognitive capacities to deal with, they can't do simple movements like moving a finger or anything. In the clinical side, they're taught to learn instruments so that they can be able to regain that cognitive capacity. Now, how does that help someone who is going through rehab? Someone going through the process of rehab, when they're able to learn how to play an instrument, first of all, what it takes to learn an instrument is discipline.
Yes.
And a lot of effort. Good. Now, to recover from drug abuse, substance abuse, also requires a lot of discipline
and a lot of effort. Yes.
So one of the things that makes it hard to recover from an addiction is you feel like you don't have a sense of achievement because you've barely achieved getting out of an addiction. So what can encourage you is to being able to achieve something somewhere else. So if they're able to learn an instrument and successfully play it very well, one of the things you feel is a sense of achievement. That helps you to deal with relapses and also to just keep going until you're able to recover fully. That sense of achievement gives you morale to be able to keep going. And then once you learn the discipline of playing, once you adopt the discipline that it takes to play an instrument, the same discipline can be applied in music, in recovering, recovering from substance abuse. So those are some of the examples of ways that music therapy helps. Helps in recovery.
That's amazing. You just reminds me. There's this song in I think it's the scriptures in the Psalms. Of these guys singing the rivers, the Babylon, and they're trying to, I think, kind of motivate themselves. Or push themselves. I think after all the hardships they encounter, so they're using music to, and you've said something very critical, and I think I've seen it all over, and I think it's a good way for people to even understand that you can light music in a way to express your feelings. Maybe you can just tell us more about that, because I think it should be a highlight. How you can use art, music. Some people also write poems, like you said. Other people can even write books. Or do a lot of blogging by the way of expressing themselves. But when they do that, they had a burden kind of get relieved.
So this is how music comes in. Human beings have one of the most important needs of a human being is the feeling of importance. Good.
Be accepted.
To be accepted and to feel valued. And what leads to that is always human beings love self-expression. So we love to express, whether it's a negative emotion or a positive emotion, we want to express that emotion, either to get it out of the way or to enjoy the highs that come with feeling a certain way. Okay? So when it comes to addiction, usually the feelings are not pleasant because it's a lot of self-loathing and a lot of self-judgment.
You're guilty.
Yes, you're feeling guilty and all that. And if you can't get an inner peace of mind, then you can't fix even the external things. So when we talk about an example like hip hop music, if one of the people I'm helping to recover from substance abuse is affiliated with a society that listens to a lot of trap and hip hop music, in that society there are people who write music that encourages substance abuse. There are people who write music that discourages substance abuse.
Yes, yes.
So once they're able to write lyrics that express how they feel about their situation, either they feel a lot of regret and they want to recover, and it can also encourage evangelism, in the sense that they can also evangelize to fellow guys who are caught in the same problem, to try and work their way out of addiction. So lyric writing will help in that. It either expresses how you feel, your intentions and hopes of recovering. So that self-expression and feeling valuable, it's hard for me to come to you and tell you, I want you to listen to me, talk about how important I am. It's hard. But with music, it's really easy, because one of the things that you have to do with someone who is trying to recover from addiction, you have to convince them that they actually matter, that there is a future.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yes. They know it. They just know that no one wants to listen.
Yes.
But if they put it in music, everyone will listen. Okay, so that will give them an avenue for
like
self-expression.
For them.
Yes, it's like a voice for them. Now, another thing that human beings, one of the things that makes human beings more effective and also more destructive, just depends on how you take it, is the mob mentality. So if you adopt the mob mentality, where you understand mob it can be destructive, where everyone can collaborate in destroying a good thing in the society. At the same time, the mob mentality helps people to come together and do good.
Yes.
So this is where community therapy was used. They adopted the mob mentality. If I see other friends of mine are trying to get out of a system that is corrupting their lives, if I'm able to see that someone else is doing it, then I know I'm able to achieve it. So this is how the mob mentality comes in as an added value. So community therapy is when we put them together so that they can learn to work together and understand each other and realize that I am not in this fight alone. Someone else is also trying to come out of this problem. So community therapy helps them to do that. When they compose and sing as a unit, gives them that sense of belonging. And then they have that morale, because they see someone else is actually doing this. So that is how the mob mentality actually usually works. If I see someone else is demonstrating, I have twice the courage to go and demonstrate, right?
Wow.
If I go alone, it can be a bit difficult. It's the same thing. If I see someone else trying to recover from addiction, then I have twice the courage to keep going.
Wow.
So
amazing. Pascal, why are we not doing it actually here in Kenya? Because I know there's so many cases. Is there something that is happening around?
Yes, the first problem with the reason why these practices are not adopted so much in our country is because, first of all, music as a profession is not. It has not yet been institutionalized properly. So anything that comes from music is not focused on well. There's American Association of Music Therapy that is trying to push for more practices in Africa, where we can have more community therapy practices and music therapy. So I think the main challenge is the government hasn't yet recognized it to be able to institutionalize the practice. That will bring in more funds, because it requires funds. Yes, and that will also help with the practice. So that is the main challenge.
Wow. You remind me of, I need to get the name of the book. The lady who organizes dancing kind of parties. Where you can just come in the hallway, do some nice music, and people just come and dance. Dancing, and they go home, and they also encourage people to hug each other, and then people just go. And I think it works, so because it's populated. Every time there's a dance party, people come. Just to have that music play, and they're dancing. Actually, they do it very early in the morning when people are just going to the office. You wake up, you go to a dance party for 1 hour, and then you head to the office. It's therapeutic.
It's very therapeutic. Actually, the reason why that is therapeutic is because in music we have things called frequencies. So there are certain frequencies that affect the part of our brain that deals with emotions. So there are certain frequencies I might touch on, say, an instrument like a piano, and I can change your mood by just the way I play a chord.
Oh,
yes.
okay.
I can change your mood by playing.
Yes,
In classical music, you're trained to do this, to tune into your audience's emotions.
Yes.
So if I want to make you happy, I can simply play a chord called a major chord, and spread it using something called an open voicing. When I touch that, your mood can quickly change from being very sad to being very happy. Alternatively, I can change the things we call scales in music. If I can change from a major scale to a minor scale, then I can make you actually start having sad feelings. So one of the non-receptive practices in music therapy is listening.
Yeah.
That includes dancing, because technically you're also listening when you're dancing.
Yes.
Is when you curate a playlist for someone, someone who is dealing with addiction and is trying to rehabilitate comes to you and says, I'm feeling depressed.
Yes.
There are producers and musicians who have been trained to compose and arrange music to reduce thoughts of depression. Yes. Those playlists exist in Spotify and, and YouTube and all these digital streaming platforms. So you can actually pick one playlist and listen to it a lot. One of the other things that is encouraged is singing along when you're listening to the song. When you're singing along and you relate with the lyrics, and it's relevant to what you're going through, then while you're singing, the stressful emotions, then you start relieving them.
Okay.
Yes. So that applies.
That applies.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Maybe something that you might want to think about and probably invite guys. Say we're having a dance session, you just come and dance, and then 1 hour, then you leave. True. Amazing. So I want to end this conversation because I think we can. I think whenever we are going to frequencies, 10 scales, and we might even have go on and on and on and on.
Yeah.
But I would have you to give my viewer a parting shot before we end the session.
All right. So I just want to speak to anyone who is dealing with struggles in life, leave alone just addiction, anything that you're struggling with, there's always a solution, and you matter, and you have a future, and there's always a helping hand. Seek them out. Everyone who is willing to help is also seeking you out. So please don't give up hope. Keep going until you reach your destination.
Wow, amazing, amazing. You had it. I don't want to add so much, but you heard that you can use art and music to recover as a therapy. Probably you might want to write, your feelings down, journal them down. It's therapeutic, and you've heard it from the person himself. I was discussing and I was talking to Pascal, helping us understand how music can be used as a therapy for people who are recovering, especially in this case we are discussing about substance use. So my name is James, and that was a Convo, encouraging conversations that matter. Till next time, it's a bye-bye from us. Thank you.